Um, Michelle says, I love hearing about being with boredom. I listen to Eckhart Tolle a lot and sometimes feel discouraged that I'm not feeling the power of now. The intense aliveness that he talks about is so pleasant and enjoyable. Michelle, thank you. This is a really great question, comment. All I would say to this is it's a very simple answer actually. Don't make the now into a concept. Don't make the now into an idea. Don't make the now into a goal. And I say don't do that, but inevitably that's what we do. That's what our minds do. The mind loves its goals. The mind will even take this concept of the now or the present moment and make it into a thing, which is ironic because the now is not a thing. It's the ground of all things. It's the unshakable, unchangeable, ever-present ground of all things. But then the mind will say, oh, okay, the now. Oh, I've got this concept of the now. I need to be in the now. So then we try to be in the now. But when you try to be in the now, you've made the now into a thing that you have to be in. And then sometimes you feel that you're in the now, and sometimes you feel that you're out of the now. But the truth is, even in those moments when you're out of the now, even in those moments when you think or believe or experience yourself to be out of the now, when is that happening? It's happening now. Now is the one constant. So even when you're out of the now, that very experience is happening in the present moment. How could it not? Because there is only the present moment. So even not being in the now, not being in the present moment is actually manifesting in the present moment. So on a deeper level, here's the good news, it's actually impossible to not be in the now. So, you're free to be in the now, not be in the now. You can try to be in the now. You can fail to be in the now. You can tell yourself that you're in the now. You can tell yourself you're not in the now. But throughout all of those states and experiences, you are profoundly, profoundly in the now. And I would say on a deeper level, maybe I'll talk about this on the webinar, but you're not even in the now or out of the now, really. You are the now. The now is just another name for consciousness. Now is just another name for who you truly are, your deepest sense of identity beyond thought. Julia Alice, I am sure, says that you are. Alice. I think she might be watching, but she might. I don't know. Alice. We one of these days we're gonna get Alice to be live with us. Yeah, Raven, don't make the now into a concept. Or rather, do make the now into the concept, but then realize what you've done. Because you can't not. If you try and not do something, that's just more trying. But all you can do is just notice that you have an image, an idea of... This is what we do, isn't it? We just have an image of, oh, I have this idea of what it would be like to be in the now. That is not the now. It's a concept of the now. The now can't be conceptualized. So whether you think you're in the now or out of the now, it's always now. Yeah, Julia says, well, if we're worrying about the future or sad about the past, you're not in the now. Now is all there is, but our emotions do drag us out of this. Yeah, so it's true that, I mean, obviously it's true that there's times in which it seems as though we lose ourselves in the mind. It seems as though we lose ourselves in the past. We may be caught up in a regret, oh, that thing I did yesterday or last week or last year, and I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. I made the wrong choice. And we can really get caught up in that, of course. Or maybe, we get caught up in the future, this in anticipation, in fear. Oh, there's this presentation I have to give tomorrow, or this thing I have to do next week, or there's some, or whatever. So yeah, it seems as though we can get caught up, we can lose ourselves. I think that the important thing to do, and again, this is why meditation is so helpful. The important thing to do is to not judge ourselves for getting distracted, not judge ourselves for getting caught up in the mind, to not punish ourselves, not berate ourselves, to not compare ourselves. I talk about this a lot. Fast track to suffering is to compare yourself with anyone else in the world. You know, you compare yourself with someone you think is, you know, is enlightened, or you compare yourself to yourself. You know, an idea of yourself, an image of yourself. You know, oh God, you know, today I've been so caught up in the past. I was doing so well. I was doing so well yesterday, or other people are doing so much better than me. This is something that we can easily get caught up as well. So it's important not to punish yourself or judge yourself or berate yourself. This is just what happens. Again, I've never met a single human being, and I've met some of the most supposedly enlightened, evolved people on the planet. I've never met a single person who doesn't sometimes get caught up in the past, in the future, in regret, in anticipation, in their addictions and their distractions. Not a single person. And even if it doesn't appear that, even if it doesn't seem that way when they're on stage, or they're performing, you know, you meet bless our vulnerable human hearts. You know, you meet them behind the scenes, you get to know them. Even the most so-called enlightened beings on the planet, you get to know them behind the scenes, and they're so deeply human and imperfect, and they get caught up sometimes, and they hurt sometimes, and they get distracted sometimes, and sometimes they can admit that and be vulnerable about that and be open, and sometimes they hide it. They hide it from themselves, they hide it from their followers, they even hide it from their partners. And this isn't to judge anyone. This is just to say we are all so profoundly, deeply human underneath all the concepts, the ideas we have about ourselves and each other, the idea that we're enlightened or someone else is enlightened or whatever. We are all so wonderfully, beautifully, perfectly vulnerable and imperfect, and that's what makes us so perfect and so lovable. So lovable, you know? So yeah, sometimes we get caught up in the past, and that can cause suffering. Caught up in the future, and in any moment, in this moment, we can become aware of that. The Buddha was asked, when the Buddha was asked, you know, what is the absolute core of your entire teaching, and he replied with a single word: awareness. Awareness. A single word: awareness. So we don't have to control or manipulate any of this. We can just I notice, awareness. Become aware. Wake up. Oh, I notice I've been caught up in my mind in the past, and in this moment, and this again, this is meditation. I'm gonna bring myself back here. I'm gonna feel my feet on the ground. It could be something as simple as that. I'm gonna listen to the sound of, well, here we have the river. I'm gonna listen to the sound of the river. I'm gonna just be present with this cup of tea. I'm gonna feel the sun on my face. I'm gonna bring some awareness to my breath. Wow, I'm noticing my breath rising and falling right now. I'm noticing some heat in my chest area or in my belly. You know, I'm noticing some tingly sensations in my left foot. Anything we can do to re-ground ourselves in the present moment, which is home. And the paradox is, and maybe this is, you know, this, I'm not going to say this is advanced, but this is something, maybe we don't even need to understand this right now. You never actually left the present moment. So it seems as though you left the present moment. But a wave can never actually leave the ocean. A wave can imagine that it's left the ocean, that it's separate from the ocean, that it's detached from the ocean, that it's dissociated from the ocean, that it's abandoned the ocean, or it's been abandoned by the ocean. But in reality, the wave has never for one moment left the ocean. You have never for one moment been separate from Source, been separate from the divine, been separate from that which you have always sought. And the beauty of this, none of this needs to be understood. You don't have to understand a single word that I say. because even your non-understanding, even your confusion is perfect, is beautiful, is divine. Your understanding is not required. That is the beauty of presence. That is the ultimate beauty of the now, is that you do not need to understand the now. And your understanding of the now is beautiful, but it's just a concept, an idea arising in the now. It's like you don't need to understand a flower to appreciate its deep beauty, its intelligence, its mystery. When you're looking at a flower, you can spend years trying to understand the flower with the mind, and then maybe in a moment that attempt to understand falls away and you aperceive, you grok, you and there's, what word can we use really, there is just mystery. There is just the deep mystery of whatever we point to it, and we call it a flower. Really, we have no way of knowing what it is. It's a profound, infinite mystery, and it's the same mystery that we are. It's a mystery beholding itself. When you're looking at a flower, really, on the deepest level, you're meeting yourself. And then, of course, thought comes in, and we call it a flower. I call myself Jeff, or you call yourself Tom or Susan or whatever, and that plays out. Me and the flower. But on the level of the ocean, it's the ocean meeting itself, and then even that falls away, because how can a mystery meet a mystery? It's the same mystery. So that's the point where we just have to go and play with our cat. That's the point where spirituality just becomes infinitely simple and joyful. And for me, I was saying to Alice the other day, the most spiritual experience, honestly, it's sitting with my cat, stroking her and giving her a little nibble to eat, and watching the boats go by on the river. It's, for me, that is the highest, most blissful, most profoundly mysterious spiritual experience. The sacred is in the ordinary. And in my life, I've had, untold number of spiritual experiences. Experiences of oneness, experiences of the light, experiences of God, experiences of transcendental realms. And you know what? I mean, they're all beautiful, but the experiences come and go. And these days, especially after everything I've been through, and I'm sure many of you can relate to this, the highest bliss for me, the highest bliss, the most spiritual experience of all it's walking down the street with the sun on my face. It's sitting with my partner having a conversation about a Netflix show that we watched. It's sitting with my cat, stroking her, and nothing special as the Buddha. It was either the Buddha or the Zen master. Nothing special, and yet it's infinitely special. Infinitely special. And this is meditation. This is how, at some point your life just becomes meditation. I don't formally meditate anymore. I think formal meditation is beautiful. Setting aside a time every day to sit and close your eyes and put on a timer and put on some music and some incense or whatever. But for me, that whole thing, meditation has just exploded, and it's become my life. Like every moment of my life is a form of meditation. I'm not talking about what we think of as meditation. That's different. I'm talking about meditation in the deeper sense, which is sensing, knowing on a cellular level that the sacred lies in the ordinary. The sacred is to be found nowhere else but in the ordinary. In walking down the street, going to the supermarket, sitting with my cat, breathing, having a cup of tea, having a conversation with a friend, It's it's uh, it's the miracle of life itself, and it doesn't look anything like what these all these fancy concepts about enlightenment, all these things I used to believe. It was all flushed out of my system, and what's left is a very ordinary life, but it's shockingly sacred.